Hi everyone, Miles here, the golf professional at Southwick Park Golf Club. This week I plan to come out and give you my thoughts on chipping in the very heavy conditions, which was in my head from last week. But the really strong winds of this latest storm really brought more wind than rain, and it's really dried the surface out quite nicely. So it's cold out here, but once you're out and moving, it's quite pleasant really. And if you are really British, then this is okay, really, isn't it? So let me tell you what I was going to tell you about the chipping anyway, and this is slightly different, and I wouldn't say controversial, but it's definitely finding a way to do it. So the main problem about chipping in these wet conditions is the actual moment of impact and the contact. Just a tiny bit before the ball, or you'll wait a tiny bit back and you'll hit early, mud between ball and club face, terrible shot. Okay, so one of the ways around that is to move the ball position back, and this is what I do in the winter. I'll chip a little bit more with my lob wedge than I would from a position like this, because I know the ball's going to stop okay, because obviously the ground is soft. But basically, I'm going to move my ball position back. I'm going to move it back further than I normally would from my probably normal central ball position, hands slightly ahead. I'm going to push it right back to my back foot, just inside my right foot. And this is something you have to practice a little bit, but what it gives you is it gives you a nice steep angle of attack, gathering less mud before the ball, and hitting down on it will give you a bit of spin. So let me hit a few and see if I can talk you through it as I'm doing it. So I should have had a practice at this. Anyway, push the ball position back, push my hands forward, and I'm going to swing back quite straight, keeping the weight on my left side. You, like all these chip shots, you need momentum, so quitting on it would be terrible. That wasn't very good, was it? You get the gist. I'm going to zero in now. Hands ahead, steep uptake, fairly steep straight swing through. And we should be able to start plumping these down by the flag. We're getting better. So all those shots are puttable, obviously, and the two at the end are really quite nice. I should be able to hold them. So steep backswing, ball position much further back than you probably would want to play it, and quite a straight swing. Keep the momentum, and you'll have to come out and practice if you want to be any good at it. Let me move on to something else. Okay, here's a little scenario. Well, I just was on my way in and I was just chipping a few balls. Yeah, better get back in a minute. I got good at chipping when I was young by literally taking my club out and going hunting for balls and then chipping balls about. So you end up being silly and having one on the bank and one on the edge of a bunker, and you sort of end up being able to play a few shots with touch, which is always a lot better. This shot comes in two parts. It's part technical and part course management, right? So ball above my feet, bit of a grey area lie. You know, it's when these balls land, like, you know, they can really sit down sometimes and give you a horrible sort of cuppy type lie. Two mistakes, or a few mistakes you could make from here. I'm going to play the shot, and actually I'm going to play the shot okay in terms of technique. So I'm going to come right down to the end of the grip. I don't like to hold the metal, but because the ball's so far above my feet, I want to compensate that by not having it back in the end of the handle. Okay, so that's the mistake from here, right? This is the fourth. The green's quite fast because the wind's dried it out. I've chipped it on the green. Now, fair enough. I've got to sort of, I don't know, hole one in God knows how many of those, but I'm above the hole. It's a suicide mission now as a putt. I need to get myself below that hole, putting up the hill to give myself a realistic chance to make this putt. To stop it near the hole is going to be very difficult, but there's not much excuse. I can go a little bit further. So just in terms of playing this shot, down the handle, ball in the middle, hands forward a little bit. Have a look at your lie and see how steep or how shallow you can go, because if I come back too shallow, I'm going to start to gather grass before the ball, and that will undoubtedly make me fat it. Hold yourself into the slope a little bit, so weight's going to be forward in my feet, and I'm going to really try and concentrate and keep people lift your head, keep your head still, keep your sternum in one place. Don't worry too much about your head. Your head will take care of itself if you do that. So once you've settled into a shot like this and got yourself happy and adjusted and feel like you can comfortably hold your position, then you can concentrate on the shot. And I want to make sure that I pitch it far enough up that hole to at least give me a downhill putt. So that's a much better shot. I mean, I've got a chance of holding that because I've got an uphill putt, and you need to get your brain working like that because that's your best route for course management. Well, definitely one of the tricky parts of golf, winter golf, is the bunkers. You dig a hole in the ground, it's probably going to fill up with water. So the greenkeeper does his best, and he's raked this beautifully this morning, but the ground's hard, it's compacted, it's heavy, and it's very, very difficult. So two things about these sort of wintry bunkers: always use your feet, feel the texture of the ground when you come in. It'll give you an idea on depth and firmness, and might give you a slight help on how you're going to play this shot. Basically, the best way to do it for winter golf is to not have a big expansive open swing. Try and take a load of sand, because you won't be able to take that sand. The risk you'll take is making too big a swing, is bouncing into the ball and sending it way over the green. So the key for me is to try and take much less sand. I think what club you use, you'll have to have a little play with, but I've still got my lob wedge in my hand there. I'd probably use my 54. But basically, I want to chip it a little bit more. I don't want the club to dig in too much. So I need to take a slightly shallower swing. If I get too steep, it will impart spin, but it'll also dig into the sand a little bit. So slightly shallower. So we'll go ball middle, little bit back. Because what I'm going to try and do, hopefully, is catch the ball in the sand at the same time. I'm going to use a firm left wrist and keep that moving through the ball. It's far more of a chip than a splash type bunker shot. I think obviously the lip's going to come into play, but a lot of the bunkers at Southwark haven't got high lips. I know 13. There's a few with a good sized lip in them, but on the whole, quite a few of these ones that get compacted are the ones that are low down. So ball in the middle. Fairly straight swing back because I've got enough loft. I don't need to sort of impart more loft or add loft on with my hands. I'm just going to use the natural loft, and I'm just going to try not to dig in early and clip the ball first, and nip it out fairly clean without thinning it, obviously. That was bad, wasn't it? Let's do it again. So that was too much sand. That was a better one. You see how much check will be on it if you get it right. But like all these things, I mean, why should you be good at it if you don't practice it? And yeah, you're going to have to get in and practice these little wintry shots. And you will be able to nip them out and do a good job. And you will be able to play it off of these firmer conditions. Not too bad. We got better in the end. So a bit of practice, a bit more practice for me, undoubtedly, because they're not quite good enough. But winter bunkers, winter lies, winter, accept that it's going to be hard, and just enjoy your golf. See you all soon.